Alright, so let's continue with the mouth. As you can see, there's quite a bit of issues over here. So let's go ahead, and it's a bit hard to select the vertices. So I'm going to do is I'm going to select the faces instead. So I'm going to select all of these faces over here. You can just do half of this because we're going to mirror it anyways. So I'm just going to select them, and I'm just going to control right click to vertices, so I'm going to tell Maya to not follow any other upper jaw or any of those nonsense. So let's go to the component editor and see what's going on. So obviously it cannot follow the upper lip and stuff like that, right? So as you can see, it starts to become a bit more better now. And then obviously it can't follow the neck either, so let's tell Maya to put a 0 on the neck. And then maybe for the mouth we can just leave it like that for now. Alright, so let's go back and see how it looks like this. So let's close this, and we'll see. Okay, it kinds of follows what we need it to follow. Like I said, there are some issues over here where it's not really following, or it's too, it doesn't flow naturally over here. But we'll fix this area in part 3, where we'll go and use the animation technique. But as long as a good portion of it is not following, then it will be good. Now if you notice over here at the top, let's go back to select this vertex over here. At the top here, it kind of follow the lower lip, so just want to make sure that none of these guys follow the lower lip either. So again, just wanna, you can be a bit more careful in your selection. And again, I'm only going to do 1/2 of it. We'll mirror it over. Again, control right click to vertices, I'm just gonna select that, guys. And since I use this a lot, let me just put this on my shelf then. Alright, just want to make sure that it does not follow the lower areas, and obviously shouldn't follow the neck either. Okay, so it's a bit more natural now. Let's bring this back to 0. Again, it's not perfect yet because we haven't really go to the final part. And again, when we move this side, this looks a bit more better. It kind of flows a bit better. But so if we open both of them up at the same time, as you can see, there's still some areas at the top that's following the bottom. So again, we want to make sure that those issues are addressed, especially these two vertices. So let's go ahead and select those faces. It's easier to select this way. Now if you feel that the joint is in your way a bit, so let's just go and hide it for now. So tell them not to show the joints, and then we can just go to the vertices over here. Should be able to select it like that. Alright, you can select the inside as well. Again, you can just do it for 1/2, you have to do it for the whole thing. And just make sure that it doesn't follow the lower jaw or the lower lip, nor does it follow any of the neck areas. Alright, so close the mouth. Again, kind of follows that way and follows this way. I said some of these areas, maybe a cross over here needs to be smooth a bit, but for the most part it's more or less there. Again, we have a bit of an issue over here, especially at the bottom there. Again, that's because we don't really smooth it. We can go ahead and try to get some of this, see what's going on over here. So of course, like this will follow the neck, so we don't have to be so bothered about this. Right, so let's just see what we have. We just want to make sure that the obvious things are addressed. Right, so obviously it can't follow the collarbone or the back doesn't make sense for it to follow any of those things, and the rest should be okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna select the whole vertex again, and again we want to check that again nothing follows any of this back or collarbone because it's on another object, and of course doesn't follow the hip either. Let's put it back, which is 0 as well. Yep, so that should be more consistent. So again, we have some issues over here where the turn over here is not smooth out. Again, we'll fix that in part 3, but for the most part it kind of follows and you don't have any obvious errors like we had before, so that's a plus sign over there. Alright, so we're done with this part here, done with this part. Let's tackle the body all the way to the leg next. And just want to make sure one more thing is I'll mirror this guy. Right, so should behave a bit more consistently now. Yep. Okay, so at least the left, importantly the left and right is kind of the same. Alright, so in the next part we're going to tackle the body downwards. Alright, so welcome back. We're gonna focus on our body next. Alright, so before we do so, let me just bring back my joints, and what I want to do is actually I want to create one more controller, which is going to be right over here. Right, you can still create controllers even you're binded in stuff. So I'm just gonna snap this controller to the belly, and probably want to call this like a belly controller or something like that. Again, freeze the transformation, delete history, those sort of things. And let's look here at our outliner, not that one, this one. Right, so I'll call this belly CTRL, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a orient constraint in this. Right, so it kind of like moves the belly around, jiggle it around a bit. And of course it needs to be the boss of this guy, so let's have a look where he is. The hip control is here, so let's put the belly control right in between here, right below. Don't put it inside because it will be a child of the hip, so right inside here, and put the hip control inside the belly. Right, so what that does is it allows you to control it a bit better, and of course it's part of the whole scale and stuff like that. So the scale and the movement for the master control still works. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna try to get as much of this thing done as possible. So as you can see, some of this area here probably needs a bit of a smoothing out over there. So what I'm gonna probably do is I'm just gonna use maybe these two edges of vertices. I'm just gonna select those edges and convert them to vertices. And I'm not going to give him 100% on the belly, maybe I'll give him about 0.6 on the belly. Now everybody else except for the belly and the hip will be 0. So the back is 0 as well, all these legs here will be 0 as well. So the belly is about 0.6, so that means the hip is about 0.4. I'm just giving a rough number, I might need to change that again later on. I'm just trying to see how it reacts. So perhaps a bit better, but might need to do a bit of adjustment over here later on. So let's see, over here let's select the other group of edges. Alright, so let's convert them to vertices. So let's give this a bit of a stronger influence towards the belly, so maybe it's about 0.75. Again, everyone else except for the belly and hip will be 0. So the hip will be about 0.25. Again, I'm just trying out some numbers over here. Again, I might need to go in to change it a bit later on, but it kind of works quite nicely now. Alright, so I can kind of like, when I rotate this, of course I need to kind of smooth this area out a bit, but for the most part it kind of looks quite okay. Now let's have a look at how the belly kind of reacts. Again, some of these areas perhaps is because of the pants over here, kind of need to follow the belly a bit more. But for the most part, I'm not too worried about this. So let's see. For this area here. Oops, I'm not gonna do that. Let's go to the edge here and select. Let's do one edge loop at a time. So let's go to see this vertices and see the component editor. So it's 1 on the belly. I think I'm quite happy with that. But what about these guys over here? Alright, they're 1 as well. Alright. Let's see, it's kind of close to the root. Maybe let's see what influence these pants have. Alright, these pants have a lot of things that's not supposed to be here, like the low back. Don't want it. Nothing to do with the knees. Right, so we have the belly, the hip, and the roots. Might not want it to have influences on the root as well, so I'll change this to 0. And we have about 1 on the belly and very few on the hip, which is here. So let's see. The belly, hold on, let me just undo that a few times. Alright, I think I put it wrongly. Let's see what this joint is. Let's close this for now. Forgot what is the name of this joint, so let's go back to object mode. So this joint is called lower back. Alright, so that's my mistake. We need to at least put some of the influence to the lower back. So let's just maybe select these 2 edges. Alright, let's go back to the vertices. And the hip needs to be 0 because the hip is too far away. And everyone else except for the lower back and the belly needs to be 0 as well. So it's a bit more closer, or at least about halfway through both, but it's a stronger influence on the belly, it seems. Let's see how it looks like if we just have 100% influence on the belly, just for those 2 edges. Right, so select this belly control here. Right, kind of looks a bit better except for the belt. Of course we can adjust the belt later on, but for the pants side, kind of looks quite well. Alright, so I'm quite happy with those results. Moving it along, I don't see many major deformations around there, so that's kind of okay. Right, now let's focus more on the legs. I'll skip the belt for now, I'll go into the belt later on. Let's go back and unselect this, and maybe I'll hide my joints again for now. Right, let's go to the vertex for the left leg, and again I wanna, right, let's see, let's hide our eye handles as well. Right, just want to make sure that nothing on the left hand side ends up on the right hand side. So anything you see with right needs to be off. Right, so the right leg needs to be off. Probably nothing on the root as well. Right, so there's some influence on the belly and stuff like that because we did it earlier on, but of course the hip needs to be out as well. Alright, so from there we can go ahead and mirror this, so the left will apply on the right as well. Let's just select one of these controllers here and see how it kind of reacts. Yeah, obviously over here there's huge mistakes over here. We're gonna fix that, but for the most part, when I move this guy here, the other guys on the right hand side doesn't move. See, there's nothing here moving. Right, so let me bring this back to 0. Yep, like I said earlier on, we need to kind of like move this a bit stuff, because there's some small bugs over there, but it's okay, not a big deal. Now you also gotta make sure that some of these areas follow properly. So let me bring back my joints. Right, so maybe I want to make sure that, let me see, joints is here, and let's select this. This is called left leg. Alright, so you want to select the edges over here and go to the vertices and perhaps I'll just have this on the left leg and maybe a bit on the lower back. Alright, so obviously it shouldn't have anything on the ankle or the knees for now. Nor should it have anything on the belly because the belly is too far up. Alright, so again, let's try this. Alright, so for the most part it kind of is working. Right, kind of reacts quite alright. Change this back to 0. Right, sometimes my just doesn't want to work it, so it's okay, just like move it again and change this to 0 again. Alright, so I think that part is kind of okay for now. Let's go towards the knees, and perhaps I'll just make it quite straightforward. This guy should be 100% on the knees. I'll just put this 100% on the knees. And see, this guy should follow the ankle. Ankle. Okay. So okay, I'm not gonna mess too much about the legs. Just wanna make sure that some of the basics are covered over here. Right, so I'm able to rotate this quite a bit. Right. Kind of follow over here. Of course, we haven't fixed this top part yet, but for the legs it kind of follows everything quite well. Bend and move down, such. Right, let's just check our knee controls. Right, there's too much influence on the knee from some of these vertices, but it's okay. Just bring this back to 0. Alright. Now let's perhaps select some of these faces over here, and just want to make sure that there's no knee or ankle influence on some of these areas over here, especially this back area over here. So I'll convert this to vertices. Again, press Ctrl right click to get that. Alright, so you gotta make sure there's no knees over here. So the left knee, especially, I'll just do it for the left knee and then I'll mirror it over. I know there's a right knee over there. Alright, and of course the root as well. I don't have any influence on the root whatsoever. Right, let's go back to the object mode and perhaps let's mirror this. Okay, and try again. Okay. And here's the knee. Right. Again, some of these vertices over here has a left knee influence for some reason. So let's again have a look again. Oh, does not have. Alright, it's more on the left leg, which is right over here, which kind of moves a bit. But we'll just leave that for now. Not gonna be too concerned about it. Alright. So again, just make sure it's mirrored. Now let's try to tackle the belt next. So if you kind of move it this way, the belt kind of have to follow as well, and it was covering these edges here. So let's just see where these edges correspond to. So these edges are mostly going to the left and right leg, belly and lower back. So I'll probably give it a similar influence. So let me just change this back to 0. Let's go to the whole vertex over here. Vertex. And then probably only give it on the lower back and the belly. So everything else can go to 0. Probably give the belly about 0.35 perhaps. Let's try. Oops, that's not right. Let's see again. Did it with everyone else. So the belly gets about 0.3 and the lower back should get everything else. Alright. try that again. Alright, it's actually influenced more, should be influenced more to the belly, so no worries, let's go and try this again. Go back to the vertices. So the belly should have 0.7. At least 0.7, might more, we'll see. Yeah, but this is following it a bit more. You know what, maybe I'll just change this to 100 then. 100 influence to the belly. Right, then we'll see this again. Yeah, that works a bit better. Alright, so for the most part, we have seen a better improvement from the first pass. Alright, so the second pass is a bit better, at least when we kind of open the mouth and close the mouth, you know, the eye is not like bulging out and stuff like that. Of course, there's still some more work to be done, especially when we want to smooth some of these areas. So that will be done when in phase 3, the final phase, where we start to combine this with some of the animations that's happening.